All right, here we are with our friend, our acquaintance, Dr. Jim, and my business partner, Mike Cormindro. And kind of, Jim, what we thought we would do is just kind of introduce ourselves and give you a little background about some stuff we've been working on for the last couple of years. And then
Yeah,
kind of would demonstrate our site. We know you've got about a half hour hard stop.
I have a hard stop at 4:30.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
So, and then we want to get you any ideas that you had, and
4:30
then
my time, not
30
4:30
your
your
time.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
3
37
hours.
minutes from now.
Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah,
plenty
yeah,
of time.
yeah.
So
Cool.
then we'll get some any ideas that you have for the site, and then I thought I'd stop the recording, and then if we want to talk off record about anything with the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Dale Perryman, and once again, I feel like I know you, Dr. Jim. We've been followers of Tastytrade for a while, and in my day job, I've done corporate training for the last 25 years, and have been a financial investor kind of on the side. And so that's just me. Mike, why don't you give Dr. Jim a little background about you?
Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a trader, software developer. I've been following Tastytrade for 3 years. I watch it every day, so I've been an avid fan, and we've been inspired by you guys to build some cool stuff that we want to show you.
It's awesome, man. I can't wait to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So a couple of years ago, Mike and I started working on another site where it was primarily paper trading. And what we found was that real-time data is expensive. And we were looking for a way to do it without having to spend much money or any money on the real-time data. So we pivoted to our site today called Tradediff. And as you had kind of asked a question on Facebook when we chatted about how we're getting our data. So we're connecting to Ameritrade's real-time data, and we've brought about 50 new customers to them. So that's kind of our win-win agreement, is even without funding an account, we can access their real-time data through the API. So that's kind of how we're getting data.
That's amazing. So how did you reach out to them to kind of pitch them? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a hard pitch, but I'm really fascinated about how you did that.
Yeah, well, we're in contact with their kind of king of the APIs, another guy named Mike, and their disclaimer is not the most updated thing and tends to scare people, because when they click on it, it says we're able to kind of move money and give their firstborn and some scary stuff, and which is actually not fully true, and they're going to update it, but it's so new that they really haven't, and with their merger with Schwab, it's not really their priority. So
Right.
we've kind of operated in spite of that. So we've kind of had to explain to people and had them trust us. So initially it was just friends and family. So people that trusted us anyway tended to kind of use it. And we think eventually they'll be able to update it so it's not quite so scary.
Our end goal is to provide an interesting platform that people they just can't not have it when they're trading at TD Ameritrade, because we would love to work with other APIs as well. I know Tastyworks is creating API,
Right.
but I'm not sure exactly. I follow Tom, and I'm not sure exactly fits with what his vision. But our end goal is to be able to bring new customers to the platform, to whoever platform we're using, by providing them with some kind of educational middle way between them trading real money and fake money. So
Yeah, sure.
and we think we're doing that pretty well so far with TD Ameritrade.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I mean, with Tastyworks, it's tough because there's no paper money account, right?
Right.
So it makes it difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could be that paper money account. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So really there's a two-pronged objective to really give people more of some benchmark measures that we think may be a missing link. In the past, I kept a pretty extreme Excel spreadsheet, and I'd spend 30 or 45 minutes a day kind of updating that baby. So with the API, we can automate a lot of those. So A lot of, and Mike and I felt like worst case scenario is just we build our own toy that would help us in our own trading. Best case scenario is we're able to create a subscription based site that saves people some time from having to compile all that data, so it more automates the process. So without further ado, let's share a screen and I'll show you some things.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. So here's kind of, when I log into the site initially, it gives I manage about 12 or 13 different accounts, all friends and family. And then I can go to a particular account. I've nicknamed this one the New Reality Fund with all of the outbreak of COVID, et cetera. And so, it'll look at kind of how you're doing daily. You could create different categories. I can measure how each category is doing. I've created a coronavirus category, an earnings category, some straddles and strangles, some covered calls, some naked calls, and some poor man's covered calls. So each one of those categories can be measured. So if I click on a measurement, you can kind of see a graph. I could graph any particular time frame. I can also benchmark that time frame against the SPY and the QQQ. So I can look at kind of an ROI compared to those. So if you can see how NASDAQ, how this account, and how the Dow is done. And I can change the time frame on that. I can also do some snapshots, which I view snapshots as kind of a trading journal on steroids. So at any particular time, so this was today, August 13th at 8:51 a.m., I could view that snapshot and I said, hey, check out this earnings trade in Cisco that went against me, and then I can highlight the exact trade. And then this becomes shareable that other people could make comments on it. So it then becomes kind of a collaborative environment around a new trade. And then somebody could go in and follow how that trade is doing.
And by the way, those snapshots it's literally exactly what every single to the penny of what your positions and portfolio look like on that day and time.
And that was one way we're kind of getting around kind of sharing Ameritrade's real-time data. They're kind of, and so because it's not sharing the real-time data, it's just sharing a snapshot in time of that
Got
data.
it. Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of a way around that. So the other thing we're doing some competitions. We've got,
you sent me a couple things around that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So here's like a real money, some 16 real money accounts that we're competing.
These are all accounts connected through the API at TD Ameritrade.
Yeah. Right. And so this is something that we're just competing for bragging rights and the ability to kind of benchmark against people who may have a little bit different playing style. And then, so other competitions we're doing right now, we've got two competitions going. One is just call and put buying. And we did this more. I have a lot of poker players that are friends of mine, and some of these guys just like to gamble it up. And so these are just, all you can do is buy calls and puts.
Yeah, sure.
And so the other one is you can only trade spreads, or you can only trade option selling. It's more the Tastytrade method.
And by the way,
these are with paper money?
These are with paper money.
And then you have the real money that's separate. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And the paper money is driven off the real-time data from your broker.
Right.
And also a big thing that we do with the platform is we actually enforce all these rules. So in the contest of calls and puts buying, you actually can't do anything else besides call and puts. It won't let you do it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And then in this one, it actually won't let you just buy calls and puts. You can only allow to do spread. So in a way, it's very educational, because when you put someone in a contest and say, look, you're going to learn about strangles, we can force you to just trade strangles and teach you how to trade strangles through the contest.
Yeah.
And
wow, that's really, really cool. So
we've built some things in here, such as trading costs. And as Mike said, it's kind of dummy proofs it so people can't place illegal trades. We've also forced them you can only allocate a certain percentage of your portfolio. And if you over allocate, it'll give you an error message and won't let you do it. So we've kind
What
of,
do you guys have that set at?
I believe we had the
You can show 'em
10%.
10% on the spreads and margin and 5% on the calls and puts.
We've also have a rule that you can't trade outside of market hours just because we wanted to make the option pricings accurate.
Okay.
Now, there are some people that we allow them to trade after market hours. One of them being, my 16-year-old nephew who's going to school and, he's not even competing for real money. Some of us, we bought in at $50 a piece and we're running it kind of like a poker tournament. First place gets 65%. Second place
cool.
Gets 25%.
Yeah.
Third place
it
gets
has a little bit of
back.
a twist, a little bit of skin in the game feel to it, right?
Definitely, man. Definitely.
So the last time we did it, the buy-in was $100. This time we ran 2 contests. Buy-in was $50, and we also allowed people to play for free, but not be, a candidate for the prize pool.
Okay.
Yeah. We're actually focusing on trying to provide contests for educational purposes, and the money is just kind of icing on the cake for some people.
Right.
But we're trying to create value by putting this into an educational, platform kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I wanted to show you was the Collaborate tab. So really the Collaborate tab, if I'm on an individual's portfolio, it's almost like a message just to that person. But if you collaborate here on the portfolio, on the contest, so anything I place here, people can see ideas.
So people can talk trash, people can, see the one thing about these contests, Jim, is that everything is fully transparent. So we actually want you to be able to see what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually even more part of the educational part of it. It's like you can see what the winner's doing. You can see what, the last place person's doing. And I think I'm in last place in one of them, actually. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So, I post some link. Here's Tom's thoughts on Robinhood. Here's kind of an update on a number of people. So people.
Actually, and Dale's been doing videos with each of the contestants and talking about trading and posting them here for everyone to see.
Oh, that's really good.
That's like Tastytrade-ish, right? It's like
of course. Yeah.
We're trying to communicate with people and show everyone. And he's got like 15 videos with all these people.
Wait, so with the real money account, with the real money contest, where you have full transparency where everybody can see everybody else's stuff?
Yeah.
Did you guys run into any regulatory issues with that? And I don't even know, that's outside of my area of expertise, but I just
the only regulatory issue
there's something there.
Is the only regulatory issue if you're some kind of if you're some kind of advisor or something like that, which we aren't. And then it's the real-time data issue with everyone's an account. Everyone has an account at TD Ameritrade, so you're allowed to see everyone else's data. But that's a good question, Jim, because Dale and I talk about this. It's no different than just kind of sharing your portfolio on Twitter or something with somebody, or showing them a snapshot of your portfolio. We don't see any issues, and we haven't seen any yet. Do you have any potential things that you've come across?
Well, no, and that's why I prefaced it by saying I don't really even know what I'm talking about, but I'm just kind of assuming. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that if you were some type of an advisor or a broker dealer or in that capacity. Right, but because you guys are going the educational angle, I think you guys are probably fine.
This is no different than all these tasty traders getting together and kind of sharing stuff and showing screenshots of their portfolio. And all that stuff.
I think it's what we've run into more is people's concern about privacy, and so we've given them the option of either not sharing it at all or giving yourself a pseudonym.
So before I forget, hey Jim, sorry, I want to really ask you this before I forget.
Sure.
And you can answer it whatever way you feel is appropriate. But what's Tastytrade's stance on social collaboration among tasty traders? I know there are some regulatory issues, and I know there are some liabilities. So what is the view of you guys about having people socialize, in a platform like this for Tastytrade?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Mike, and I'm only going to be able to give you a partial answer, which is just as bad as a partial fill. I always hear Tom say, and I don't know why he says it, but when we do our events live and we have 300 tasty traders in the same room, we always encourage people to get together and find each other and form groups and form clubs and get on Facebook, whatever. We just can't be, we can't really be involved in that.
Yeah.
We can't like sponsor that. We can't like have our name on or anything like that. I don't think, because I think because we are a broker dealer, you know, at the end of the day, there's all kinds of regulatory things that go along with that.
So
and so that's all I got for you.
Yeah.
Well, you can see a number of things I've posted up here, like an earnings calendar, some screenshots from some stuff you guys have presented on Fix, you know, your virtual meetup forum that you guys have done. So it's just a place where I can post videos here of all of the ones that I've done, meeting with, and it's exciting because we'll get together with the group and I'll go, okay, what are you bullish on? What are you bearish on? And then I'll help them look at different ways to structure a trade based upon a bullish or bearish or neutral premise.
Yeah.
So that's kind of anything else that you think, Mike, that, I mean, we've done charting, snapshots, note taking. You can also take notes on any particular trade. You can highlight it. It becomes shareable. So really our big picture vision is either continuing to add better metrics, better ways of measuring risk, and creating a collaborative environment where people can learn together and share information.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and stop the share. Right.
Sure.
Wait, Mike, there was one other.
I had several comments and questions, but I want to let you guys finish for sure.
There was one other thing I was going to show you, which is projections. You want me to show him that, Mike?
Sure. I mean, you can just click on that link.
Yeah, I'll click on that link.
It's kind of cool, I guess, to, you know, we thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of take your returns and kind of project them out for people. And
so this is one of Mike's accounts, but it shows you over 5 months. It takes kind of an average per month, and then it projects it. And one of the things that I think this is useful for, especially young people, sometimes they think, all I've got is $10,000. I mean, how can I? But when you see what something could turn into in a long-term time frame, I think sometimes it motivates somebody to get started today.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, so go back to that actually. Can you pull that back up?
Yeah.
I mean, so I caught that last number on the screen there. Do you not think that, you know, 12 billion might be a little optimistic? Do you not think that might be reaching a little bit too high?
It's just
actually, we expect it to be.
I don't know if 6% a month is sustainable in the long term.
We actually believe it's a little higher than that. So we may be lowballing.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Hey, you guys got to think big, man. You got to dream big.
It's funny
that's
because
good.
We didn't want to show you this other guy's account, which he just started during like the almost opportune time, and his account's up like 40%. So his projection, like after 15 years, is like in a number that.
Yeah, he's gonna own the Southern Hemisphere, basically.
Yeah, he really feels like he's battling Warren Buffett, I think, at this point.
So basically, one of my questions for you is just basically, you know, what do you think about this angle of providing education, you know, through some path of, you know, competition and transparent trading, and then bringing them into like an area like potentially bringing them possibly to an endpoint is to a broker where they actually, you know, trade real money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
I absolutely love it. I mean, I really love it. I think what you guys are doing here is really fantastic, and I'm really impressed in just 10 to 11 minutes what you guys have been able to create.
Awesome.
You know, from like a strategy standpoint, like, and I mean like actual like option strategies and that, like, you guys got it down. Like there's nothing I could suggest that you guys haven't already thought of and whatnot. I do have some questions and comments about kind of the business angle of what you guys are doing. That kind of really fascinates me. But the first question I had was, so obviously your target market is going to be really active traders, right?
Yes.
Like people who are really active in the market. But I have to imagine that you're also going to come across your more typical standard long-term investor that maybe they only want to do some covered calls. Maybe they only want to do some really conservative things with options, right?
Right.
So my question is, inside of your metrics, you know, you only showed me one or two ways, I'm sure, just for brevity. The take that I got was you can slice and dice that any which way you want to.
Right.
So do you have something as simple as like just a cost basis calculator that takes the shares and maybe any dividends they might collect and any option premium they might sell that will spit out the cost basis in whatever way they want to?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why don't I go back and share that?
Well, we tried to do something along the lines of what. So here, maybe you can give your feedback on this. And do you have a good account, Dale, to show him?
Like I might look at a.
Oh, yeah, right here. Stay here. Right here.
Okay.
Hit that blue button on the long stock reducing cost.
Okay.
So expand one of those.
Like Amazon here?
Yeah, sure. That's a good one. So this is not really exactly what you're talking about. I don't sell actually covered calls on Amazon because it's such a large item.
Right.
I end up doing all kinds of things, like maybe sometimes strangles or even like a naked call, right?
Right.
But over time, this will tell me see the adjusted cost and then the total profit I have on with all my trades in the past.
So by clicking on this, essentially you are showing all of the
previous trades. Yeah.
The previous trades. So if
a covered call person would see all their previous sold calls.
Nice. And can you also, if you were to do that on like a dividend paying stock, like again, I'm thinking from the viewpoint of a very long-term investor that's not super interested in getting really active, but they want to diversify their profit stream. Can you put all that into the mix?
I don't collect dividends, but I certainly can.
I just think that's amazing. Just because I'm just thinking about like the reach that you guys are going to have eventually, right?
Sure.
So obviously your target market, your ideal customer avatar is going to be an active trader, like a Tastytrade type of
options, Tastytrade,
profile. But I have to imagine at some point, maybe now, you have some people in there that are going to be more longer term focused. Do you have anybody in there that's more longer term focused?
Not really. Most of the people we're focusing on are other option traders.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, well that might not even be relevant. I was just curious for my own. Well, just because when I talk to people outside of the Tastytrade bubble, which to us feels like it's large, but it's not in the whole grand scheme of the world. Right. There is just so many people that they either A, they don't really want anything to do with options, or B, if you actually can convince them that hey, there's potential here, you're only going to get as far as maybe a covered call or just, a short put in place of some stock.
I agree.
And so, which, I mean, I personally feel like is still super advantageous for them. Like, if that's all they ever did, that would be terrific. Much better than just buying and holding.
Sometimes I wonder if we should just focus on that, and maybe that's what we can do really well versus maybe the guy who just buys covered calls. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you guys can talk about that, amongst yourselves. But I think that there's my gut reaction. It's tough. My gut reaction is not to cut off that market. That's my gut reaction.
Sure.
Just because I think there could be a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Great.
So really, I think our niche is people who want some cool metrics to check out how they're doing and benchmark against it, and then the people who want to learn and collaborate and kind of figuratively speaking, look over somebody's shoulder and see what they're really doing, and then ask questions and inquire into somebody else's reasoning. Mm-hmm. And so, and then for the person who's wants to dabble around in doing all that in a simulated environment before they put real money to play, some potential learners there.
Yeah.
What do you think about learning with fake money before you get into? What do you think about so for someone who has like $5,000?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of? And assuming he's young, he's gonna work into he's gonna build a little nest egg of $20,000 to $50,000 at some point down the future. What do you think of kind of trying to get him on paper trading for a while before he kind of just throws away the first $5,000-$10,000, which he probably will.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't mind it from a mechanical standpoint. Yeah. I don't mind it from getting a very, very, very small amount of exposure into how the market actually moves around and reacts. The truth is, as we all know, until there's real money at stake, it's really hard to appreciate what's happening. But still, there's no point in stepping into a real account with real bullets, not knowing how to put on a vertical spread. That's completely there's no reason to do that. That's completely avoidable, right? Like you should cut your teeth on all the mechanics in paper money, so at least you understand how things work before there's real money at stake. Because even with the mechanics understood, you're probably still going to throw away your first 5 or 10,000.
And not only that, like the mechanics that you guys actually teach at Tastytrade, sometimes they're hard to follow when you only have a $5,000 account. Like you may only get into one strangle and that's it. And you can't do anything about it, or you're still limited to what you can actually do. So maybe by teaching someone how to trade a $100,000 account with paper money, you can go through a lot of the things that you actually teach at Tastytrade, the mechanics, the rolling, having diversified strategies and allocation to certain strategies here, and so like I feel like with $5,000, a lot of people start with that, and what can you do with that is limited, and
I totally agree.
That's the problem we're trying to solve.
Mm-hmm. How active is your community in there with the collaborate stuff, Dale?
Well, they started off very highly active. I mean, when the contests, they're ready to go and they're all excited and they're learning, and these contests last for 45 days. Yeah. So I got to admit, the interest isn't the same as it was in the very beginning.
And that's just human nature. That's just how. I mean, I'm like that. You're probably
the people who are doing well are pretty active, and people who lose, even I stopped looking at the leaderboard once I dropped off the top 5. I'm like, yeah.
Of course. And you said you've got about 50 people in there.
We've got in about 16 in one contest and about 10 in the other.
Okay. Yeah.
But by the way,
some people are playing both contests.
Right.
Yeah, and we're not a public site yet, so we're kind of doing this all right now, kind of privately. We're reaching out to private friend, Dale's group of friends, and some people on Slack on the Tasty Nation channel. Got a few Tasty Nation people here. We haven't decided yet when we're going to actually go out there and make like a public sign up contest.
But this is really our third month essentially doing it.
What we're actually doing is we're trying to perfect the competition engine right now, because we're finding so many things. Like, as you can guess, any problem with paper trading contests is there's going to be people who figure out how to just swing for the fences, and they don't care, they win or lose. They'd rather swing for the fences and give themselves a chance to win. We're trying to take that all out of the equation by making allocation restrictions, by making certain restrictions that you can't actually just swing for the fences, which I think will give us an advantage going down the road for more realistic contests. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I think what I'd like to do is just to stop the recording at this point, and then we'll talk to you a few minutes off the record.
No, let's do it.